Transfer portal is abuzz. National Signing Day for the high schoolers tomorrow, and I would imagine there's just going to be a lot of fireworks because that's the way this thing is trending. You got folks just sending out flips left and right today. LSU, of course, was on the wrong side of one of those a little bit earlier, losing a very talented and five-star defensive back in Cade Phillips, who switched from Texas to LSU just months after switching from Texas to LSU. So it's just been a lot of craziness and a lot of folks all over it, and certainly one of those is Sonny Shipp from Geaux 24/7, good enough to give us a little bit of time when I know that his phone's probably abuzz. Sonny, how we doing?
Good, man. How about you, brother?
I'm trying to keep up is really all we're trying to do at this point. It's just it is a lot. So let's kind of get your overarching thoughts on this like 3-day span here between the dead period and signing day, and just how wild this is getting behind the scenes.
Oh man, yeah. It's I think when you look at it from an LSU perspective right now, you're just like, man, we're not even treading water right now. First you had Bryce Underwood, of course you had Cade Phillips this morning, and that deal is quite a blow because I think when you looked at this class, you could always point to like, wow, you got the best cornerback haul in the country. All of a sudden, it goes now from being looking great on paper to just looking really good. And I think just the overall perception right now is just LSU really needs some good news to come along the way. And hopefully they'll get some, hopefully Solomon Thomas, the 5-star offensive lineman committed to Florida State, hopefully he'll go ahead and make that flip.
As far as why LSU is not getting good news to this point, is it do you feel like they're just getting outbid here?
Man, I think you have certain cases like that, and I think you also, it's kind of hard to look. You look at a situation like Cade Phillips, and you say, okay, could LSU come up with that money if they really wanted Cade Phillips? I think the answer would absolutely be yes. I think what separates LSU from some other schools is LSU can only do that with one, maybe two types of players because of the resources that they currently have right now to use compared to some of the other schools they're going against, like the Texas, the Oregons, the Michigans of the world. And that certainly, provides a little bit of a hindrance. And then you have Brian Kelly, who, you run into a situation to where, okay, you've got X amount of money right here. Do you give it to a guy who may be able to help you next year, but really his money year of being able to really come off and pay off that investment is going to be his sophomore year? Or do you take some of that money, go get make sure you've got DJ Pickett locked up, and then maybe take that and use it towards somebody in the transfer portal? So I don't think it's always a question of whether or not LSU could come up with that money. I think it's just more of a situation to where, you can, but how many situations are there like that where you can? Even Texas, look at Texas, Texas ran into that over the summer to where they lost to Corey and Moore to Oregon, and that was a situation to where they were just, if you believe all the reports and what those, closer to the scene say, and that's just, that Texas just hit a point to where, okay, we're not going above that.
And it's an interesting spot because if you're LSU and you've got this pile of money, you've got these high school kids that have to sign tomorrow. And then you don't know who's going to be in the portal until next week. So, like, it's just you're just assuming that there are plenty of guys out there that'll be interested that you can pull in, but you don't really have all the information right now, which is a tenuous spot to be in.
Yeah, it's a tenuous spot to be in. And I think that's where, if you're LSU, the fortunate thing that you have going for you is that you have that LSU brand, to where you have that to where, you've still got a lot of kids out there and a lot of coaches out there that when LSU comes calling, that's one of those that kind of makes you say, whoa, And so LSU does have that on its side. I just think that the biggest thing is that, obviously from the NIL angle and the NIL perspective, everybody reaches a point to where they have where that I guess that line is that they can't go above. And I think when you look at it from LSU's perspective, yeah, it's going to help when that rev share comes. When that rev share starts later on for the 2025 and 2026 season. But the only problem with that then is that a recruitment like Cade Phillips, let's just say you believe the reports out there, and Texas gave him $1 million, a 1-year deal for $1 million. Let's just say you believe that. All that's going to happen when the rev share comes in is next year, that $1 million deal for Cade Phillips, market value on that's going to be $2 million, because there's not going to be any enforcement, any kind of regulations, and it's just going to be and the Wild West is going to continue to be the Wild West.
That's kind of the way I feel about it as well. You look at LSU's class right now, 24 hard commitments. We've certainly heard rumors about Derek Meadows. You got Keelan Moses as well. How confident are you that the guys who are committed right now are going to ink tomorrow?
Out of the 24 right now, I think Derek Meadows signs with Bama. I think Mike Tyler, the tight end out of South Carolina, right there in Columbia, I think he signs with South Carolina. And I think LSU gets Solomon Thomas, and that would put him at 23. My gut still tells me that Jakeem Stewart's headed out west to USC. So right now I've got them finishing the day with 23. And then if you drop Meadows and Tyler out of the equation and you add Solomon Thomas into the class calculator, that puts LSU right around that 6 to 7 range that they finished the last the last 2 years under Brian Kelly. And so, while I think certainly the finish is going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth just because of the players that they lost and how highly regarded that they were. But then I think, when you step back in 2 years, 3 years from now, when you pull up those classes and see, how high that 2025 class was, you'll be like, oh, wow, Kelly had another, top 7 class. He never did that at Notre Dame.
Any concern with DJ Pickett? I know everybody's got catastrophe syndrome at the moment, so I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, and that was one to where, like from talking to folks, it was like, okay, you go into bed tonight feeling like LSU is still in a good place. But then it's like one of those things when you wake up, you start thinking about work and you're like, oh man, I wonder if they still feel good about Pickett, just because I think you just have that level of uncertainty that comes with, that comes with someone of that magnitude. And then also when you consider the hits that LSU has had recently in losing, 2 other 5-stars in this class with the Underwood and the Phillips decommitment. So, and I think that's going to be another one where you just, you go to bed tonight and you wake up tomorrow morning just hoping that you don't hear anything else. But, I think as of right now, I think LSU would rather be where they are than anywhere, than anyone else in the equation. And then you mentioned Keelan Moses and, of course, his visit to Texas A&M over the weekend, the back and forth between some fans on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now. But, from talking to folks, it seems like everything's fine now and stuff, and that I think that he'll sign with LSU. Another guy to keep an eye on would be Walter Mathis, the 3-star defensive lineman out of Georgia. He's still got some people kind of after him. Jaden Breaker, the linebacker out of Georgia. Auburn and South Carolina are both, and Georgia Tech are both really on to him right now, trying to get him to reconsider his options. So, you've always got some of those things that are going down at the last minute, and unfortunately, it's an element that you really can't track when it comes to recruiting because nobody wants to talk about money these days. You call somebody, you start asking like, oh, well, how much is this school trying to give you? Like, man, who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah. It's crazy, but I know y'all are on top of it. Tell everybody what y'all got going this evening and then tomorrow on 24/7.
Yeah, tons of recruiting. Obviously, our YouTube channel's got we'll have a signing day show from 9 to 4 Central Time. All day tomorrow. Obviously, we'll have a ton of stuff on the site for you, right? 50% off for an annual subscription. So a lot of things going on. Come check us out.
Appreciate you, Sonny. Try to get some sleep tonight. I know it'll be a busy one tomorrow.
Appreciate you, man, and just holler, my man.
Sure will. That's Sonny Shipp. Go 24/7 over there with 24 Sports. He's He's the man, been in the business a long, long time, and appreciate him giving us a little bit of time before he gets right on back to work, I would imagine.
Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.